We're going to go through. I just didn't want to talk. You guys were really loud, but thank you for getting quiet. We're going to go over the practice quiz. That was what I had told you we were going to do today, was go through this step by step. And so this is kind of your last in-class shot to learn this for those of you who are struggling. Your next shot would be to say something intelligent like, could you pull me for flex? And then your last shot would be something intelligent like, hey, could I stay after school for a little while? I talked to my volleyball coach or whatever. She's cool. She knows that school comes first, all that. So you got 3 shots really to try to put the pieces together if you're feeling a little lost. I know that for a lot of you, it's not that you're lost. It's just that there are a few little missing pieces to the process. So only you can sort of sit there with the red pen and decide, okay, this is what I struggle with. This is what I need to get help with. And again, that's different for each of you. That's what makes this job such a challenge. And that's where I need your help, is for you to identify what your step is. Is it the first step where we distribute? Is it the second step, maybe sometimes where we kill fractions? Is it combining like terms? That is different for each of us. So again, I need your help on that. I'll totally help you, but I gotta know like where I'm starting with you. So I'm gonna run through these as if I were taking the quiz. And I'm just going to write on this instead of on the actual quiz because I like this format better. So I'll copy the problems up on here, and then I will work through them again as if I were taking my own quiz. And feel free just to stop me at any time if you have a question like, hey, how did you get that? Or why did you do that? Or where did that come from? Stuff like that. You just have to speak up. I'm certainly not going to give you grief. I salute you and admire you for asking questions, and your classmates certainly would probably thank you as well, because they might have the same question, right? So this was your first one, and distributing is probably the worst mistake you could make here. With all of these first problems, your first step should be to go in and kill the fraction just straight away. So in this case, you all should have multiplied by 4. All right, remember that the 4 only multiplies to 2 places. It multiplies here, which gives us -12. And then it multiplies here, which gives us 3. Don't think of the number 12 there. Remember that the 4's just kill each other, and then we drop down the number 3. So we have our equal sign and the number 3. And then from there, the fraction is dead, and it's really not a fraction problem anymore past this point. So next step is now to distribute. So you multiply the 3 in, and you get 6x minus 18. And again, you should already have these done, right? So you're not so much copying this down as you are assessing your own steps and seeing how you're doing. That's the idea today. And then I'm going to add 18 to both sides, and I'm going to bring down my 6x, and I'm going to bring down my equals. And when I add 18, -12 plus 18 is +6. Like I've been saying and hinting at, I'm not needing you to show me +18 anymore if you don't really want to. Where I will cloud up and rain on you is this. That is terrible, right? And that's what happens. That's the risk we run when we decide not to show +18 on both sides. I'm okay with you not showing +18, provided that you remember that it is +18 and not -18. So this should definitely be a +6. And then when we divide both sides of this by 6, we all should have gotten x equals 1. So 1 down and 11 to go. Any questions on the first one? Okay. The second problem really is cut from a very identical cloth. This one really should be easier. Why is this one easier? Just a little bit. Well, same with the first one. I mean, they're identical in that respect, but why is this one easier than the one we just did? Yeah, Mila? Right. The one on top tells me that when I do my fraction killing step, like I know I'm just going to do, right? I'm going to do exactly what I did on the last problem. I'm going to multiply to kill the fraction, and the 5 is going to multiply to the first spot, just like it did before. And I'm going to get negative 45. But the fun, like Mila said on this, was not fun. The benefit on this one is that when I do my second multiplication over here, when the 5s cancel each other out, I don't need to bring down the 1 like I did on the last problem, because 1, when attached to parentheses, provided that it's positive like this is, it's just pointless. So I can just bring down the contents of the parentheses like this. Okay. So it's actually 2 steps easier than its predecessor, because not only don't we have the carry down, so we don't have to distribute, but we also don't have to divide because there's no number in front of x. So all that's left for me to do is subtract 11 from both sides, and negative 45 minus 11 is negative 56. And again, if you're the kind of person who is inclined to mess up negative 45 minus 11 and say something offensive like 34 or some positive 56 or some nonsense, just use a calculator, okay? And again, in a perfect world, you all would understand that when the temperature outside is negative 45 and it gets 11 degrees colder, there's only one sensible answer, and that it's negative 56. But I mean, people say funny things. So again, if you're one of those who ever misses that, just type it in a calculator just to be safe, so you don't say crazy stuff. All right, the third and the fourth problems are also cut from the same cloth, but these ones I added a little twist just because I was curious to see if you would take advantage of an opportunity. So this next one is negative 8 equals negative 2/9 times the quantity of negative 3x minus 1. And what should we fraction kill by on this one? Yeah, negative 9 is actually better. And you don't have to take this. You can, if you're comfortable, if you got the answer that was right, you'll see at the end, and you multiplied by 9, it's okay. Like, it's totally fine. But the benefit that I get from multiplying by not just a 9, but a negative 9 occurs in the second multiplication. So when I multiply here, I just get, 72. That's boring. But when I do this purple arrow, this one's really important. By multiplying by a negative 9, not only did I cancel the 9s, but I also canceled the negatives. Again, not a big deal. If you're good at math, generally, you're going to be fine either way. But by doing that, then I've made my life a little bit easier by forcing a positive number to come down. And then I don't have to worry about distributing, bless you, I don't have to worry about distributing a negative 2. So you pick. It's all going to come out in the wash. So if you multiplied by 9, let me write this over here in yellow, then your equation right now says negative 72 equals negative 2 times negative 3x plus 1 or minus 1. So you have either the white or the yellow. I have to assume one of those is what you have. We good to here? Okay, so I'm going to press on with the white one. If I distribute the 2, I get 72 equals negative 6x minus 2. If I continue with the yellow one, I get negative 72 equals positive 6x plus 2. And it is hard for the human brain to comprehend that these are the exact same math problem, but they are. So let's just kind of watch it unfold. If we go back to the white one, we need to add 2 to both sides. So if I add 2, I drop my negative 6x, I get equals 74, right? If I go back to the yellow one, I have to subtract 2. So you should be following along with one of these processes right now. One of them should match your paper. Back to the white equation, if I divide by negative 6, notice that I'm dividing a positive by a negative, so I get a negative answer. And then I reduce it down, divide top and bottom both by 2. Presto, alakazam. If I go back to the yellow equation and I divide by positive 6, this is like black magic, right? And then I divide and I get x equals, whoa, look, it's another negative answer, still 37 over 3. So I feel like the white one was just that little bit easier only because of the green right here. That green oval is, to me, one less opportunity to mess up. But you pick. As long as you got x equals negative 37 over 3, good job. All right, then on to the fourth problem, and I'll give you the same lecture, but I won't take as long to give it this time. Again, I have an opportunity here. So now that the cat's out of the bag, What do you think we should multiply by? -3 is a better version of that answer because it's going to save me from the stress of a lingering negative sign. So when I multiply, I'm thinking not only now do I want to kill the fraction, I'm going to go big brain mode, say I want to also get rid of that negative. So I'm going to multiply by -3, and I'm not going to do this problem both ways. This is the better way. So when I multiply by -3 and it hits here, I get -30. And then when I multiply to the second one, what do I get? +1. That's awesome. I don't have to distribute that dumb negative that would have been lingering if I'd multiplied by 3. So now that I've gotten rid of the 3, gotten rid of the negative, I can actually just copy down 3x minus 6. Presto, done. I mean, not done. You know what I mean. Okay. After this, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And again, if you're even slightly inclined to say something stupid like -36, knock it off. You have to let that ship sail. You have to light it on fire, push it out into the ocean, and say a little prayer for it and watch it go bye-bye. Okay, that ship has to go bye-bye. So when I add 6 to -30, I get -24, bless you. And then I divide by 3, and I get x equals -8. So that's it for the first third of the quiz. Do you have any questions on those? The process is very similar for all 4 problems, right? 1 fraction to kill, right away, boom, done. All right, let's head on to section 2. And again, these next 4 problems are all very similar in how we approach them. So what's nice about the first section of this quiz is that all the fractions are out in the open. So we can go right in, go aggressive mode, boom, fraction kill. So we have 3x minus 9 over 8 plus 2x minus 7 over 5 equals 6. So right away, fraction kill. There's absolutely no reason to do anything other than that. What should we multiply by? 40 is the best answer. Because 40 is the least common multiple or denominator of 8s and 5s. So when I multiply to this first one, I never really do any multiplication here. If you haven't gotten that memo yet, there's still 23 hours and 45 minutes for you to figure this out. I'm not actually multiplying. I'm just going to do the canceling part of the multiplying and save the times for later. So when I take the fraction killer, the 40, and I divide it by the bottom 8, I am left with a 5. And then I just keep it in hiding or hold it there, not in hiding, but I keep it out there just waiting. And later he'll multiply by the stuff on top. I do not advise you to skip this step that I'm doing. Take it or leave it. It's not a challenge. I'm not trying to see who's cooler. I'm just telling you, you should do this step that I'm showing right now. Pro tip. And then when I do the second fraction kill, the 40 only divides by the bottom 5. 40 divided by 5 is, of course, 8. So I copy down the plus sign from right there. I put my leftover division answer 8, and then I recopy the contents of the parentheses. And as the guy who uses the red and green and blue pens, I can tell you, it's very common for people to forget to multiply also all the way across to here. It happens all the time. So you just have to put it in your notes and make a choice. Put a little comment like, hey, don't forget to multiply all the way through, everybody. So 40 times 6 is 240. And again, it's no longer a fraction equation. You have a question? Patty, do you have a question?
No, I was
Stretching? Okay. Okay, no fractions left. Now it's just, I hope and pray that the first 3 weeks of my class went well for you, because at this point, it's just basic skills. I have to distribute, so this is 15 x's minus 45, and then this is plus 16 x's minus 56. And now it's time for me to combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. 15x and 16x make 31x. And then my negative 45 and my negative 56 add together to make negative 101. And now I don't really have any choice about which way should I go with this. I have to add 101 to both sides. So I get 31x equals 341. And then when I divide both sides by 31, I get x equals 11. Okay. At the end of that, you feel like this is not going well. I'm getting a really weird big number, but then the division comes to the rescue. Type that into your calculator, of course, and then you're like, oh, that came out really nice. So sometimes it comes out nice. Sometimes you get a big old ugly fraction. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, right? Okay. Next one is same problem pretty much, but it's got a twist to it. And this is where we really separate the stubborn kids who want low grades from the good kids who want to just be successful and follow directions. So here we go. The first thought is not any different. The first thought is still, I need to find the best number. And by best, I mean the smallest number that can cross kill both the 6 and the 3. And the answer is, of course, 6. Right? There's a lot of numbers that would have worked: 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Any one of those could kill both. Great. But why go big, right? Try to stay as small as you can, and then all the resulting numbers are as small as possible. Life is good. So when I multiply by 6, in the first distribution here, the 6's just die, and I can just copy down 4x minus 1. No parentheses needed there because it's not multiplying by anything other than 1. This is the step where you will make a choice. Again, this is not a challenge. I'm way past the point in my career where I'm like, wow, that was really cool how you skipped a step. No, I'm telling you, you should show the next step because I care about you. So here it goes. First thing you should do is copy down this minus sign, because this minus sign will determine whether you get this problem right or wrong. Copy it down. And then I'm going to take the 6 and the 3. This is my second distribution right here. And I'm going to divide them, and I'm going to get 2. And now that 2, negative 2, will sit there and wait and say, in the next step, I'll go ahead and multiply by x plus 7 for you. And then don't forget, right, Alana, to multiply all the way. Again, we get so proud that we just sometimes forget the easy stuff. So then across the equals, we get negative 6x, and then, of course, plus 12. All right. Now we're going to distribute. So we're going to get 4x minus 1 minus 2x minus 14. And I'm telling you right now that if you miss this problem, 99.999% chance it'll be because, like a knucklehead, you put a plus sign there because you didn't follow directions. That minus 2 is a deal breaker if you forget about it. So, right, let's keep copying stuff down here. I got an equals sign, I got a negative 6x, and I got a plus 12. And then from here, this is going to happen pretty quickly. We're going to combine like terms. On the left, I have 2x's minus 15. And on the right, I have negative 6x plus 12. I'm going to do 2 steps at once, and you're welcome to, as long as you promise not to do anything stupid. I'm going to subtract my 2x, I'm going to add my 6x across to the left and give myself 8x. And then I'm going to add 15 to the right and give myself 27. You don't have to do 2 steps at once. Take your time, show as much work as makes you successful. And then when I divide by 8, I get x equals 27 over 8. And then you can't reduce that down, so that's final. Halfway home, front page done. Any questions so far? Right, on to the back. On to the back we go. Still, we're at the part of this quiz we will be for a little while longer, where all the fractions are out and just begging to be taken out. So we're going to multiply this thing by 10. And when I multiply in this first section, this first distribution right here, the 10s just cancel cleanly, and I can just drop down 3x plus 3. But don't forget the purple arrow, don't forget the green arrow, and don't forget the yellow arrow. They all have to happen. Fair is fair. So for the purple arrow, I get 20x. For the green arrow, I get minus 20. And for the yellow arrow, I get the hook. Right? If you don't know the hook by now, come see me. It's really easy once you get it. Before you get it, you're like, what are you talking about? You go 10 divided by 2, 5 times 9, done. 45. I already got the minus in place. So I like to put my signs sometimes early so I don't forget. And it's not a fraction equation. You done eating breakfast now? Thank goodness. So it's not a fraction equation anymore. I'm just going to combine some like terms. So I have a 3x and a plus 3. And on the right, I have a 20x and a minus 65. Here I go again. I'm sorry, but I'm going to do 2 steps because I want to. I'm going to pick my smaller x, which is 3, and I'm going to subtract him to the other side, giving me 17 of those. And then I don't have a choice with the numbers as to who's smaller or bigger. Don't care. I'm just going to move the one that's now by my x's, who is the minus 65. So I'm going to add 65 and get 68. And then I'm going to divide by 17. And this is the second time on this quiz where you're like, hang on a second. Like that actually divides. It was like that one that was 341 divided by what, 11 or something, 13. What? But it actually comes out. Most people don't know that 68 divided by 17 has an actual answer, but it is 4. And that's what the calculator is going to help us with, is type stuff like that in. Send it, see what happens. All right, last one before we get to what I consider the actual hard part of the quiz. This should have been our warm-up 8 problems. This last one is the last of the warm-up. So x minus 3 over 3. Uh-oh, there's a minus in front of a fraction. I hope you guys trust me. I hope you're like, I'm going to do that thing he said. I'm going to show my work there. X minus 2 over 4 minus 2. You dropped something? It went in her backpack? My goodness, that's amazing. Look at you, LeBron James. Good work. It's time to kill some fractions because they're all out in the open. And the least common fraction killer of 2, 3, and 4 is, of course, 12. 12 is the smallest number that can slash them all out. So I'm going to just run through the process. First distribution, 12 and 3 make 4. So I bring the 4, drop the parentheses. And this is where we will separate who gets this problem right from who gets this problem wrong. It is up to you and you alone. There's a minus sign in front of a fraction. So I'm going to take that minus and I'm going to immediately copy it down so I don't forget. And then I'm going to do my fraction kill. 12 divided by 2 is, so I'm going to bring down the 6. I've already got the negative in place, and then I'm going to bring down the x minus 1, and then I'm going to do it again. 12 divided by 4 is 3. That's the worst 3 I've ever seen in my life. That's better. Draw like a big kid. And then I'm not going to forget to also multiply the 12 all the way across to the minus 2 and make a minus 24. And there it is. You survived the fraction killing, and now it's just algebra 101. Can you distribute? Can you combine like terms? And can you solve an equation? Those are the big questions. So don't be a distraction, okay? If you want to entertain yourself with your sculptures, that's fine, but don't let someone else get involved in it, okay? Thanks. That's your choice to make, but don't make it someone else's. Now I'm going to distribute. So I'm going to get 4x minus 12 minus 6x plus 6. And again, I guarantee you, I would bet the mortgage that if you missed this problem, it came down to that sign right there. If you have a minus there, don't just change it and go, oops, I was close. It's not close. It's terrible. And you need to get that out of your system and quit doing that stuff. That negative distribution gets you. Equals 3x minus 6 minus 24. And I'm not in equation mode yet. I haven't been this whole time. I'm not solving an equation right now. I'm just cleaning it up and getting it ready for work. On the left side, I'm going to put my x's together and get negative 2x. I'm going to combine my negative 12 and 6 and get negative 6. And on the right, I'm going to combine my negative 6 and negative 24. And now, for the first time, I can say, there you are. You're my target. You're my equation. You're my job. I am going to add 2x across to the right, and then turn around and add 30 across to the left, giving me 24. And then I'm going to divide by 5 and get 24 over 5. Anyone perfect so far through the first 8? I said it before, my hope for you is that you're sitting here today and you individually are able to identify what you struggle with. Because, 24 hours from now, it's going to be quiet in here, maybe a little piano music playing, and you're going to be sitting here taking a quiz. So any questions so far? Anything that you need clarification on to this point? All right, this is where I think the quiz gets harder, is this next section. So what happens now is the fractions aren't as predictably located. They're not all just out in the open, just begging, hey, get rid of me. It's not like that anymore. So in the very first problem, I have a negative times the quantity of 6x minus 1/3 plus a 3x equal to a negative 3/4. So if I were making a page of notes, my notes at this point, if I was putting like example problems on, my notes would say something like, hey, at this point, stop killing fractions in the first step. Like, don't make that the rule, like this is what I have to do, because it's just not true anymore. The fractions aren't all going to be sitting out there like sitting ducks, just moronically begging for you to get rid of them. What should we do first here? We should distribute that negative sign. If you try to kill fractions, I'm sorry, bad move, right? I made that mistake the first day I taught this to you, and I quickly realized I'm taking it back. If the fractions are hiding, just accept it for what it is, distribute whatever's in front of the parentheses, get them out in the open, and we'll deal with it later. So the good news on this problem is all I'm distributing is a little rinky-dinky negative sign, and distributing a negative sign is easy because I just change all the signs. So 6x becomes negative 6x, and minus a third simply becomes plus a third. That's it. And now it's time to do the thing that we do, to kill the fractions. What are we going to multiply by? 12. You got to hit all four terms. Some of them will be bigger numbers than others, but, you know, boo-hoo. So right here we go, going in. First one is right here. What do we get? Negative 72x. As the second one coming in, use the hook. What do we get? We get 4. And if you're still like, what is this hook? I hope it clicks. I hope today's your day, man. You just go whoop like that. And just remember that you divide when you're going on the downward journey, and when you're swinging back across to the top, you multiply. It's just a little journey. You divide and then multiply. And it always works when you're fraction killing because you chose the numbers. We're 100% of the time. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. I don't need a hook for this third white arrow. What's 12 times 3x? But I do want to use the hook again for this fourth arrow. Use it. It's negative, of course. 12 divided by 4 is? 3 times 3 is? Man, that's beautiful. Just like that. Okay. Fractions, gone. And now it's just, can I do basic algebra and solve an equation? The next step, 100%, is to combine these like terms because they're on the same side. Negative 72x plus 36x is negative 36x. Copy the rest down. Next step. You betcha. Negative 36x equals. Perfect. I'm telling you, I got a special wicked red pen reserved for those of you that forget to change that to a -4 when you move it over. You get the special pen. You don't want that pen. Got it? And then we divide by negative 36. And there's just a little bit of fundamental math kind of stuff left. And that is, do you know that a negative divided by a negative is a positive? Yeah. And do you know that 13 and 36 are just a fraction that cannot reduce? Put a box around it. Call it good. No good? All right, 3 to go. This one, you should like this problem. Not, I mean, you probably don't like any of these problems, but you should like it more maybe or hate it less than the others. Why? Because the fractions are on the outside. They're like dumb fractions. They're like, hey, I'm going to try. Oh, look, I'm sitting out in the open. Like, that's a dumb fraction. So let's go ahead and remove that fraction from the gene pool, right? So we're going to take, let me copy the problem down first. Smart fractions at least try to hide from you, but these are just like, hey. I don't even know what their names are. I was going to make up some names, but I was worried I might pick the name of like a relative or something and then get myself in trouble. So let's just say they're dumb fractions. So we're going to multiply right away. If you distribute those fractions, I'm not going to make fun of you, but I am going to question your sanity and I might refer you to the office for some sort of exam, because distributing those fractions is going to make more. You're like, ooh, I love fractions so much. I'm going to take those two fractions and hope that they multiply to give me more fractions. Like who does that? So I'm going to just go right in right now, multiply by 12. Stop it before it starts. So when the 12 multiplies here, do the hook, what do you get? Every one of you right now should be thinking of 20. And if you're not, you need to speak up and let me help you. 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 5 is 20. So you bring down the 20, copy down this. All right, next one across, follow the big green arrow. Kapunk, use the hook again. 12 divided by 4 is, yep, so we're going to get -9 because you divide to get 3, multiply up, you get your -9. So we got equals -9 times the quantity of -x minus 5. And again, fractions are gone. Left side should be 40x plus 40. Right side should be 9x plus 45. And I'm going to go a little slower this time, just for those of you that might be upset that I'm showing so little work on these last steps. So this is what I've been doing just behind the scenes. I'm going to subtract 9x from both sides. Again, I don't need to see that anymore as long as you promise not to boof it up. And then I'm going to get 31 of those x's. And then I'm going to subtract 40 from both sides. And I'm going to get 31x equals 5. So that's me showing a lot of work right there. Then I'm going to divide by 31. I guess another fraction. It's like, no, can't do anything with that. All right, 2 to go. These are definitely the hardest questions on the quiz. And that will be true again tomorrow. These last ones will challenge you the most. For some of you, that means very little. For some of you, it's like, okay, roll up your sleeves. Watch out. These fractions are the clever ones. These are not the dumb ones that just sit out there waiting to get run over. These are smart fractions. That 4/7 is like, come get me. Good luck, sucker. Which fraction has a worse hiding spot? Like if we were playing hide and seek, which one of their hiding spots is garbage? The 1/3 is like, sorry, dude, you might think you're hiding from me, but really you're easy to pull out because on this right side, I'm only distributing a negative sign, right? And by now I would assume, well, it's like 3 days from October, you know how to distribute a negative sign. So his hiding spot is pretty weak sauce. But the fraction over the 4/7, he's got a pretty good one because he knows that a lot of high school kids hate this green math problem. He knows. So you got to decide, are you going to be a one of those who misses it or not? So here we go. I'm going to copy down my -3x because why not? There's nothing else that I can copy down, maybe an equal sign. And if you don't know how to do this, you're down to about 23 hours and 25 minutes now, but it's not too late to just, ask. You have to be able to do this multiplication right here. So follow the green arrow. What is the answer to the green arrow? It is -8/7 of x. And I'm going to say how I got that just because I know that there might be at least 1 or 2 people in this room who don't know and are just too chicken poo to ask. So what I did is I thought, first off, that a negative times a positive is a negative. So I went ahead and just put my negative down. And then I thought of the number 2. I'll do it off to the side as, oh, that's right. I got to put it over 1. And 2/1 times 4/7. You just multiply top, 8, bottom, done. That's how I got that. And then the yellow arrow should cause us absolutely no stress because we're in, like high school. What's -2 times -1? A +2. Survived. And then on the right-hand side, if you follow the red arrows, you're going to get -2x and you're going to get +1/3. And we survived. 0 chance are we getting tripped up from here. The numbers are going to get big, but that's why I let you use calculators. So now I have to multiply by what? 21. And I'm sorry for that, but it is what it is. And so here we go. There are going to be 5 multiplication problems. So the first one is -63x. Second one, if you even think of the number 21 times 8, I have failed you as your teacher. I continue to fail you if you're even thinking of doing 21 times 8. You're missing the point. The ship is sailing without you. You need to go swim out there and get on. I'm going to hook this one. What's 21 divided by 7? 3 times the 8 is 24. Right. So don't let that big multiplication even come into your mind. You're missing the point. Use the hook. This is just going to be another one of those big numbers. It is what it is. 21 times 2 is 42. And then the right side, I don't want to forget. What's that make? -42 with an X on it. And then what does that make? That is a hooker, right? You got to hook that thing. Anytime you watch those little hooker numbers, you just always want to take advantage of that. And don't be monkeying around with the big numbers on top. Don't put yourself in that position. And then fraction's gone. 0 chance you get this far and miss it. That would be like taking a 36-point lead in the first quarter and then blowing it, right? Don't do that. We're going to combine those like terms, specifically these two, since they're on the same side. And what do they get when I put them together? If you say 87, you're off by 174. It is -87x. No missed negatives. I need like a flashing neon sign. No missed negatives. Like, that's our thing. -87x plus 42 equals -42x plus 7. And then from here, I am going to go into fast mode again because I know that you're probably about done with me by now. So I'm going to move the smaller x, who's the -87. I'm going to pump him over to the right by adding 87x, and that's going to give me +45x's over here. Again, I'll put it, it's on a recording. I added 87x to both sides. Now I'm going to move the 7, and I'm going to move him by subtracting him, and 42 minus 7 is 35. Now I'm going to divide. Make sure you divide the right number by the right number. Don't do these upside down. So I wind up with x equals, what is that, 7 over 9. Because I can't divide 35 by 45, but I can reduce it. One more. Uno más. And that one, who's the evil fraction in this problem? Well, as I copy it, I'll ask you, who's the one fraction that's making this be an issue? The -2/5, right? I knew what you meant, Kaysen. It's that fraction that's hiding from us that's making us have to take this undesirable approach to this problem. He's like, I know you can't get me. So, and he's got a good hiding spot. So good for him. 5/3 is not even trying to hide from us, but because of his buddy 2/5, then we can't really think in this stuff about getting rid of him. So this one should be the one that you would struggle with the most. Hands down, 100%. What do we do? Distribute. There is no other good answer to that question in a scenario like this. So I'm going to copy down my -8. I'm going to copy down my +3x. I'm going to copy down my equals sign. And these things in the green box and the yellow box are my priority. You got to step up to the plate and say, boy, I sure wish there's, sorry, no work around here. Just get in there, get it done. So the first green arrow equals what? Nice. That one's easy. Again, I'm sorry. I care about you, and I'm sorry if you struggle with this. I am. Let me help you. The second green arrow is -1/2. And again, I'm going to show you how we got that. I'm going to go off to the side and show you what you should do, just like we did, is I took the 5/4 and the 2/5, and I'm not putting the negative because I don't need that. I already know the answer is negative, for God's sake. And you have a couple of options. You can multiply top, top, bottom, bottom. What's 5 times 2? 4 times 5. And then just reduce it. Fine. I got no issues. Those are easy numbers. Your other option is to go back and do some pre-reducing. So if I have my 5/4 and my 2/5, what's an obvious reducing that you see? The 5s can just kill each other. First off, get those idiots out of there. And then, yeah, the 2 and the 4 can both divide by 2, making a 1 and a 2. I don't care when you reduce as long as you get it out, right? And your calculators will fraction reduce for you. I think we've already talked about this. So we made it through that side. Now we need to head over to the yellow side. And on the yellow side, what is my first yellow arrow going to be? Nice work. And if you want to know how we got that, my explanation will be the same as it's always been. We put 5/1 and multiplied across. How about the second yellow arrow? It's -5. And so in a case like this, again, you have options. I'll write it down here for you. You can think of it as 5/3 times 3/1 and be very literal about this and just go top, top, bottom, bottom and say that 15/3. But then, of course, you have to reduce it, divide it back later. That's fine, as long as you remember to do it. Your other option, let me go back. What do you see in this box down here? Just sitting ducks. Get rid of the 3s. 5/1 is ding, 5. Now we're ready to do the thing that we do, the thing we've been doing for Houston. Full fractions. We're going to put on a big set of monster brackets at this point. There's no sense in trying to combine any like terms here. This is a train wreck, man. This is a mess. Don't be mooking around in here. What are we going to multiply by? 12 is a beautiful answer. 12 will kill all of the fractions that we want to kill. Perfecto. So here we go. 12 coming in. What's the first one? Good job. -96. Second one. Yeah. Anyone still not see the hook? 12 divided by 4, 3 times 5, 15. Next one, hook it. 12 divided by 2 is 6 times 1, so -6. I'll change that to a 6. See how I did that? Just look, right? And then 12 times 3. I'm sorry, if I'm going to sleep tonight, I have to fix this 6. That's the worst. I am there. Someone was going to say something, so because I started as a 1 like a dingus, and I thought I fixed it, but I wasn't as clever as I thought I was. So are we good so far? Because I was being a turkey. I was so fixed on my handwriting. So, yep, we're good. And then I'm going to copy down the equals. Hook the next one. Do it again. 12 divided by 3. 4 times 25. Holy smokes, 100x. And then don't forget, finish the job. 12 all the way across to that 5. It's -60. There you go. And you made it. That's the part where you emerge from the forest of evil doom and you see your destination. It's just a little short walk away. Combine like terms, solve the equation. Same as always. Steps don't change. On the left-hand side, I got some like terms. I got these. And can you imagine how shameful it would be? I'm sorry, but it's just shameful to get this far and then say something like -90. And that's the world that I live in, where I'm like, oh, what? You killed these fractions in this super hard problem, and then you mooked up a 3rd grade addition problem. So again, if you're one of those people, just use a calculator. What's -96 minus 6? It's -102. Understand your number line, go the right way. And then I'm going to combine up my yellow terms here. How many is that? That's 51 x's. We made it. This is it. We're just home stretch right there. So you can see it. I can throw a stone and get to the finish line at this point. I'm going to move my x's to the right because 51 is smaller than 100. I'm going to subtract 51, giving me 49. And then, of course, the -60 is like, I guess I'll show myself out. I'm going to add the 60 back across and get -42. and I'm going to divide. And again, I got another special red pen reserved for those of you who put this. I'm sorry, but in my world, this to me is one of the most egregious things. And again, it comes back to you choosing not to show the work, which is fine, but then doing it the wrong way. That's where you and I are going to have a tussle. So what it is x equals negative 42 divided by 49, which, yes, Morgan, reduces to negative. Yep. And I, unlike Delta Math, have compassion. Delta's a robot. It doesn't care. If a problem like this is worth like 5 or 6 or 7 points, I don't know how much it would be worth. If you make it all the way to the end and don't reduce your fraction, to me, that's a -1/2, right? But on Delta, it doesn't care. It just says, try again, sucker. So, like when I read your work, I look at every step. And I've told you this before. I literally read your book like a story, or we read your work like a story. And so every step to me tells a story of what this kid knows how to do. Then the next step, I just keep turning the pages. So I'm giving you a lot of credit when things make sense logically, step to step. So you can make little mistakes and still do a good score on the quiz. But try not to make any mistakes, but who am I to say that? Like, I've made already probably 6 mistakes this year right here in front of you with this pen. So it happens. Just try not to. Any questions? Anyone need flex today? I'm going to shut the recording off. Anyone need flex?